Welcome to Isis Unfiltered. This is a little bit different setup. I had to let you guys know that I'm a massive gamer. I have a very special guest, Jade Kovacs. I'm so excited you're here to talk all things film. I've got a little drinky drink and I'm ready to get into this. So, thank you, first of all, for giving your time, for being here. So special. And what I want with this is really to outreach not only among the entertainment industry, but kind of build a platform for what I believe is underrepresented creatives and kind of shine light on these new ideas that we're bringing forth. So, first of all, Jade, how are you doing today? Is there something that you want to start off with that you're working on or very excited about?
Sure. So I am a writer director. I work out of Las Vegas primarily. Currently, the project I'm working on several projects right now. One of them being a short film that we're very excited about. We're going to be trying to break into South by Southwest with it.
Mm,
We're in pre-production right now, going to be shooting in July. I think it's going to be very exciting.
I'm excited. That sounds so exciting, and it's interesting that you bring up South by Southwest because a lot of other people that I've been talking to have also been submitting their films that way. Do you, so, okay, before I get ahead of myself, the ADHD wants to go, go, go. Um, what kind of inspired you, I guess, to start writing and directing, kind of your journey on that?
Yeah, so I've always been a writer. I was writing stories in grade school for my classmates and like putting them in it and stuff like that. And then at some point I decided that I wanted to start writing scripts, and then I found out that the director can just take your vision and do whatever they want with it. And so I decided, you know what? Maybe I should become a director too. And I was unsure about it until one day at a college like library sale. They were just giving away movies for like $1 or $2 a piece, and I saw Inception in the
Ooh.
box, and I'd never seen it before, and I took it home and watched it, and it blew my brain open. I was like, I never knew you could do this because I didn't watch a lot of movies as a kid.
You're like suddenly you believe that you can see yourself doing these kind of things and like you see this. I think also when you see like new ideas being presented in such a way that's like Inception, it blows a lot of people's minds, and that's so cool that you had that inspiration too, that it was kind of like a blockbuster moment. Like I'm sure you like rented the DVD. I don't know.
I actually ended up buying it. I still have that DVD on my
Oh,
shelf.
that's so special. I love that, it also kinda started in middle school, and you kinda just, like were they, like, just short s creative stories or, like, plays that you would, like
It was a long epic that took place over multiple years, and so every year there'd be a new cast because I'd move into a new classroom, and sometimes old cast members would come back. It was a whole thing.
Oh my gosh, that's so special, so sweet. Wow, I love that, thank you for sharing. Besides Inception, do you see any other kinda, like, work that you feel is kinda, the stepping stone to yours or an inspiration as well?
Yeah, I would have to say, I think David Lowery is one of the most underrated filmmakers currently working right now. I haven't gotten a chance to see Mother Mary yet, but his movies Green Knight and Ghost Story are just such incredible, I guess, moving works of art, and they play with the visuals with such a masterful level of technicality while also kind of like speaking to your heart
Mhm.
that I think he's just severely underrated.
I will have to look into him because I don't know too much about him. Is the genre, like, specific? What What kind of genre does he?
Generally speaking, he seems to work with like weird subjects. So a ghost story is about a ghost living in a house. The Green Knight is a retelling of the I believe it was a poem originally.
Oh, okay.
One of the very old King Arthur legends.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay. Yeah, definitely gonna have to share that with me later on. Wow. Okay. I love all of the different uh genres and inspirations that kind of feed your work. Have you directed something before, or are we in the process of that?
Yes, yes. I have directed a film called Bless Me Father last year, which is in the festival circuit. It's won several awards. I'm very happy with it.
Congratulations. Congratulations. I would love to view that when the time is right. So I think another thing I want to get into is, oftentimes we have a lot of doors being closed, a lot of things that we kind of have to push through as independents as well, and kind of make space for ourselves. Um, and another thing I want to bring to light here is this industry is, you know, particularly hard, not only just like for the masses, but I feel that, I was talking to a director that I had interviewed previously on here, and I'm like, I can count on my hand like how many women directors I worked with. And it's so excruciating because I feel that women are quite literally creation and, behind so many narratives, but voices are constantly being silenced. Um, do you have any experiences or something that you'd like to share in that kind of aspect, if you're comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you're going to always have to deal with that as a woman,
Right.
especially in this industry where I think I was going back to watching some blockbusters from like the mid 2000s, and it's really fascinating to see how much our attitudes towards women and minorities have shifted so much, even in the way we portray it
Mm-hmm.
to the public. And um, I think that we are improving, but it is not without effort.
Mm.
And there are a lot of women. I think Kristen Stewart was really brave for saying the things that she's been saying recently about filmmaking being a boys' club and it being really difficult that way. And as someone who she's been working in the industry since she was a child,
Mm.
that's a really, I think, revealing thing to say. And it's really cool that she said that.
Yeah.
And I've had my own experience in the industry of men deciding that they can just like take your work and use it to advance themselves.
Mm.
It's a very, very real concern.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And, I think it's so important that we have, spaces where we can talk about this, not only as women, but also just as people, because it's so often that, I was just going back watching like some older films and, just trying to like collect some things from there. But it's so often in media and just like consumption of that we're seeing like, oh, it's women are so like emotional and this and that, and it's like, who even started that narrative? Like, kind of men. But it's like, but my point here with this is, like, we're literally all people. We're all people, and it's like, when did we get to the point where the story was so like subjugated on one particular trait of somebody? I don't know. It's
About 5,000 years ago.
yes, exactly. Carved into the hieroglyphics or something. But yeah, I really appreciate you with just that. And I think it's not only important to talk about, but not talked about enough. We've been talking about kind of how it's changing a bit. Do you feel like some work that you've been seeing lately, or rather your work that you're working on, do you feel like it could potentially start a conversation and change in this way?
I think that audiences are looking for stories like that. If you look at the box office recently, Obsession
Yes,
completely destroyed all expectations. It was like what, a 700 and something $1,000
it is.
indie film that's now making 250 million plus. And it was a story about misogyny and the taking of agency away from women. I think that audiences, they always want something new. I think the age of give me the same but different
Mm,
has kind of passed, and now we're looking for something truly new. And I think that's where a lot of marginalized voices are going to come in,
absolutely.
especially with the state of the industry and the main studio systems being so precarious at the moment. What with hotly contested mergers and a lot of layoffs. It kind of reminds me of the end of the 1960s when the studios were also in a crisis. But what came out of that? The indie boom, and you had people like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg and Francis Ford Coppola coming in and completely shaking up the narrative. And I think we're kind of in a period like that right now. So as dire as it looks, I think there's never been a better time to be passionate.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Oh, excuse me, sick or something. I feel like the new kind of voice of the industry is coming with all of these kind of we've had these up and down things throughout society for so long, and I feel like things are changing even if they are slow. And progressively we're seeing with these new audiences, this new generation as well, arise for more expanded mindset idea type things, more thinking not only about like the future but also just not stuck in the past, because I think so many art forms have been that for so long. So I totally agree with that, and I think the way is indie because I've been watching so many indie things lately. I don't know if you saw Good Boy with the dog. It's the dog.
I heard about that. I heard about that.
Yeah, that was so different, and I think a point I want to make here with this is I have never seen a movie solely from a character like a dog, for example, from this perspective, and I'm like, wow, like it really makes you think not only beyond the human experience, but also just beyond like other things that we can view as art. So I thought that was really cool. And they did a great job with that. I think you would like it because you're kind of like a horror buff, if I'm not mistaken.
I do like horror. I mostly write exclusively within the realm of horror. So
Mhm, mhm. That's right. And everybody, I just auditioned for one of Jade's projects, I think.
that's true. That's true. You can't tell them that. It's a conflict of interest.
Oh, I didn't sign a contract yet. Furthermore, I think it's crazy too because do you find yourself when you're writing, if you have a deadline and say this project needs to be done by this certain time, and you're also working on something else that needs to be done at a different set time, do you ever stress out about, having an inconsistency or a tone difference because a certain project might need to be stated a certain way within the script, or it could be a completely different genre. Do you ever find difficulty within that kind of process when
Yeah,
you're
of course. I have ADHD, so it's like a chaos shuffle no matter which way you look at it. And I try to take things day by day. When it comes to consistency, specifically with writing, I think that I'm practiced enough that at this point, if you have a certain skill level, then it becomes muscle memory. And so consistency isn't so much of an issue as long as you're doing it, right? You have to do the work. You have to sit down and write. As long as you're sitting down and writing, eventually it just becomes a part of you, and consistency just becomes a part of that.
I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat. I've got ADHD, so I think I'm not I mean, I'm working on a script right now, but it's been slow because of just acting stuff in general. I kind of feel I know acting and writing is two different beasts, but I feel a little bit of similarities within, you know, you're sitting down writing these different genres, pieces, projects, whatever it may be, and kind of compartmentalizing them, like kind of how I go about my work is, get a script, read it, get a script, read it, but it kind of goes into like a separate folder in my brain almost, and that's kind of how
Mhm.
I think about these things too. And I appreciate you for like sharing your process, because yeah, that's really cool. Is there a moment where you feel that hmm you've written a script and you've shot the piece, but you feel like it's not quite what you wanted or it's not how you envisioned it?
It's never how you envisioned it. Film is always a collaborative process. You always get input from a bunch of people. Your gaffer is going to change how things look. Your director of photography is going to change how things look. Actors are going to give you lines that you hadn't thought of before. I think acceptance that it's not going to look exactly like it did in your head is a really important part of being able to collaborate with people,
Mhm.
and a lot of times it ends up coming out better because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, would you say that you've definitely had to have, like, a mindset shift in that way? Or do you think it's become, like, a little bit easier over time to kinda go with the flow?
It's become easier over time. My first film, I was a little bit upset because we were supposed to be filming within a Catholic confessional,
Mhm.
but it's hard to actually find those, and the ability to fit the camera in is so difficult,
Yeah,
unless you have them custom built. So
yeah,
we ended up instead using just a completely dark room and a single light up here to
yeah,
kind of simulate this feeling of claustrophobia and darkness. So it's very different from how I envisioned it, but I think it's better for it.
right. Yeah, I think, a lot of times people don't that are not within the industry too, that might be watching this, something as little as like a location switch or, a different rented piece of equipment, the film's gonna look different. If there's so many things that can go potentially haywire on set too. Somebody's not recording the sound, there's traffic noises if you're in a city, and I worked on a location one time where the script was, I mean, the script is always locked until you get there and somebody's
Yeah.
making up lines and don't know their lines. Like, please come to set prepared. Like, I have nightmares about not knowing my lines, people. Like, get this together now. I know I'm not perfect, but oh man, that's a nightmare too in itself. Um, but this set we were using was also a church, coincidentally, and they kicked us out because my professor, I don't think they had a permit, but we were still a school, and we had prior like verification to shoot there because other classes and cohorts have shot there before, but for some particular reason they were being super strict and they kicked us out, so we ended up using the garden. And oh my goodness, I will never forget that because I know people complain about like desert heat and California sun and whatnot, but
Mhm.
you've experienced Miami heat, the humidity and the outside, and yeah, and it's a short student film. We don't have umbrellas, so it's like go find shade under that tree right there. Um,
Okay, and it's humid too, isn't it?
yes, yes,
Oh,
and it was supposed to be like fall. It was a drama piece, so it was like everybody settle into your emotions and be cool, calm, and collected on the inside, but you're sweating to death, and the wardrobe was like sweaters, and it was just ridiculous. It was a fun piece. I think it was like a adaptation of Tennessee Williams or something we had shot on film. But
You
yeah,
shot it on film?
yeah. I
That's
don't know
cool.
where it is now. I say that with some projects that I have because they're just old and I'm like, that's weird. I don't know where it's at, but I'm sure it's in the archives somewhere. We'll find it someday, but I had to
And
share
everyone
that.
will be like, "Hey, I recognize that famous actress."
I had to, I had to I had to share that little excerpt of my life. I don't know. Jade, do you have any advice for, any aspiring writers, directors, specifically kind of with your background as well, within the horror genre, women-led things?
It'd be twofold. First of all, you need to do it. You need to go out there and you need to do it. That's one of the most difficult things, but it's also one of the most crucial things. You need to write, you have to make sure you're writing. You need to go out and you need to shoot and you need to get a feel for how it feels to shoot.
Mhm.
And second of all, you got to go meet people.
Mm, yeah,
You need to go to mixers, you need to make friends because those connections are what help you. That's how you build your own team
right.
of people. And if you want to make a film, you want it to be with people who are people you've worked with before, people who you trust. Go to mixers, go to online groups, talk to people, but also make sure you can back it up with your own writing and your own directing, and that when the opportunity comes that you've made for yourself, you are ready to meet that moment.
This is also a space for pitching. I'm not sure if you have anything that you would like to pitch to anybody. I'm thinking it's kind of all in the development, but if you do.
Oh, I mostly write horror, a lot of psychological horror. I have two projects that I'm shooting this year. I'm trying to get a found footage horror full feature off the ground called You Shouldn't Be Here, about someone who becomes too famous on the internet and it has disastrous consequences. My current film, Bless Me Father, is still in the festival circuit, so maybe it'll show up on YouTube at some point.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Instagram at Jade Kovacs, and you should be able to find any updates on stuff like that there.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for giving me your time today. I had such a great time, you know, learning more about you and getting your input on the industry. And I'm so excited to see all of your projects take off. It's gonna be great, and I'm obviously gonna be your number one fan because I love horror too.
Yippee!
And found footage. So when that movie comes out, I want to sit front row. Mhm.
Understood. Understood. I'll save you a seat.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks, guys, and I will see you next time.